Warning, the following video has flashing lights and also includes content that may be deemed inappropriate for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Barbara Hartman, once again, you have found your way into the Fox Den for this Christmas Eve episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here on StarFox Radio. I do hope everyone's holiday is good. Absolutely delicious. I do appreciate the Christmas gift, Miss Hartman. Even though I am still hungry, I can finish it later.
Stood up. I said, oh my God, it's a werewolf. And everybody in the car freaked out.
My creatures of the night, yes, once again, it is time for Midnight Lycanthropy here on StarFox Radio. Barb Hartman has made her way through the dense, dark, and werewolf-infested forest to sit around the late-night fire and burn the midnight timber with us as we try to once again figure out what is occurring with missing people in the national forest, cave systems, and the being known as the Dogman. Barb, what's up, my friend?
I got a lot of fun stuff going on, and so how about you? How are you doing?
Excellent. It's always great to sit down with you and try to figure out what is occurring for sure. And I've just been really busy editing, which is good, but long story short is, unfortunately, there was a hoaxer going around that, well, I had to take down a few of the videos he was in because from research I had done after presented with some evidence, I didn't feel comfortable with what he had presented anymore. And that's really not what I'm about, but it really did kick me in the butt cheeks because it is hard enough to get your YouTube viewing hours.
Yeah.
And anyone out there that is trying to, you just got to keep on rolling. But I ended up losing 30 hours because of the videos I had to take down. Yeah, it is what it is, though.
That sucks. And it's, I feel that people, they see, us, what we do, whatever, and it's like, oh, that seems like it's so much fun, right? And it's that would be great to just be able to do that, but it's a lot of work. I mean, I know that, I know how hard you work and how many hours you put in just to an episode. I mean, for a let me see, I'm trying to think. I did a couple of videos today that I have to put on, I'm going to download to YouTube, and I think, they literally took me like almost all day, with the editing and the sound, and, and with everything that you put in, all the graphics and the art, and I'm sure it takes a lot. So people, they don't realize it, but it's fun still, though. You and I were talking beforehand that it's still fun. It's still fun. It's great if you're a creative person. That's what I just love. I love that, that aspect of it. But, one of the things that I've made a change, I was doing podcasts, regular podcasts like every week, a couple days a week. And that just really, it was taking over. It was taking too much of my time, my creativity, and with me, too much of my research time, because as you know, I have a clan of Sasquatch that live around me, and I'm constantly getting decent evidence, and in order to kind of present that, to get it together, to present it to people, that takes time. And I felt like I was just there was a lot of missed opportunities, with something I could have jumped on right away, and made a video, or maybe ask some people, like, this happened, what do you think about that? But I mean, I still have the photography and the videos and the audio, but it's still, I feel like it's best to act on that when you get evidence like that right away, so you don't forget any of the details.
Great stuff for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So one of the things, and then what we were also talking about beforehand was taking risks, and we just got back, and the reason I wasn't able to come to the Fox Den, or whatever you guys have, Fox Den, last week, I wasn't able to make it through the werewolf infested woods to join you. Is we were out at on the Olympic Peninsula. I live in Washington State, and the Olympic Peninsula is a coastal peninsula. The Olympic Mountains are there. The Olympic National Forest, the Hoh rainforest, which is just this massive, amazing temperate rainforest. That you're like, wait, how is that this far north? It just that kind of just blows my mind that it is so temperate there, but consequently there's just beautiful flora and fauna, and oh my gosh, just mosses and amazing, and it's the perfect habitat, obviously, I think anyway, for Sasquatch, and I think it's the reason why there's so many in that area, because it really is, it's not easy to to live in the kind of places that are I don't know. There's a lot of movement with the earth. There's a lot of steep hill, a lot of mountains, But anyway, so we were out there, and there's this kind of like new coastal community that's really in the middle of nowhere. And we've gone out there probably about several times over the last 10 years, and we just love it. And so this opportunity came available for us to buy a property. So it's an investment property. So we'll enjoy it, and it'll be fun, but it really is going to, until it gets going, it's going to be a huge risk. And, I was kind of like, oh, I'd love to do this, but I don't know. And usually I'm like the risk taker, like of my relationship with my husband, I'm like, yeah, let's do it, but I'm like, okay, he's getting closer to retirement, and like, oh gosh, I don't want to be like, in the poorhouse, so to speak. But when we were there, let me see, a month ago. Yeah. Again, we find out this opportunity, and as we're looking at the property, this is the time when I got this amazing video evidence. There was like a group of Sasquatch sitting there looking at me in the car, and I'm like, are you seriously? And so I thought, now that's a sign. We've got to go. Right? Because that gives me a whole new research area. Because I don't like to, because I'm a lot of times on my own going out into the forest here around me, and I feel comfortable doing that. But I'm not about to go out on my own, in a national forest or anything like that, in anything that's too far away from my house. I'm just not going to do that on my own. And I don't want to do it with a group of people, because I feel like, not saying that I would never, right? I'm not saying that, but I just feel like the best scenario, if you want to try to get evidence in terms of a Sasquatch, Bigfoot, is you have to gain their trust, and so, that's really what I'm all about. So we were there this past weekend, and got some more research time in, and drug my husband around, and he likes it, though he may not admit it, but anyway, so so that's fun. And I got I'm trying to get into my laptop. Sorry about that. So so I got some more awesome evidence and videos. And so I'll be sharing that with you. And as well, I've been getting some pretty cool audio here at my house too, because I think that I know I'd sent some to you, right, Kenny? And then you shared it with your, with your science
Yeah, you
team.
sent me a few, like at least 4 or 5 over the past couple months, I feel like, for sure.
Yeah, and they've always, and they've always had positive, feedback that it certainly sounds like primate. So because I am always open to constructive, criticism, or not even criticism, constructive facts, right? So I want to just kind of change my direction though. So I'm going to be definitely, I love the fact that I have a new area, like I said, that I'll be spending some time, but I really want to take the time now to focus on my research here and my evidence, but while maintaining I guess you'd say, an online presence, whatever, because it has been absolutely such a great experience. I was doing podcasts for almost 2 years, and man, I have learned so much from the people that I've interviewed. And it's just been, it was a great experience. I was just getting, I was getting burned out. I was just getting too burned out trying to prepare for shows all the time and whatnot, so I absolutely love talking to people about their encounters, and I definitely want to continue to do that. I had spent over 20 years as an investigator for a major insurance company, automobile insurance company, in my career. And so I have been trained in how to interview people about traumatic events in their life. I've also was trained extensively in how to look for fraud indicators, as well as, like verbal and physical cues that the person that's being interviewed is not telling the truth. Now, in the majority of the the witness statements that I would take as an insurance investigator, they are recorded because it's absolutely necessary due to future potential litigation or arbitration, right? I feel like that skill set, kind of that training, has definitely helped me slide into the role of a podcaster and interviewer. However, this has led to some pretty, I think, funny misconceptions on my beliefs and my opinions on the content of what is being told to me by the person I'm interviewing. Somebody had said to me recently, "Do you believe every single thing that, watching my podcast, and do you believe every single thing that you're told?" And I said, "No, but I like that you're getting the impression that I do, because really, I want to appear neutral. Um, I really feel like that is our kind of job as a, what you say, journalist, whatever. Um, we we have to keep our opinions to ourselves when we're, in terms of interviewing someone, because this is a lot of, it's for entertainment. Now, if it's a situation like you were talking about, there's a person that you have dedicated, airtime to, and it's like, okay, my integrity, my online, presence or whatever, is based upon the believability of my witnesses, and also with the organization that you're in. You don't want to be spewing a lot of fake stuff and a lot of hoaxes. So that's also a completely different situation. But like, okay, so in my previous career, these were all these interviews were used for like legal purposes, right? Determining liability. With podcasts, particularly in this field, we're conducting an interview that will be most likely used strictly for entertainment purposes with the viewers, determining the believability, of what the person is claiming. I think the big difference in this field is that while most of our viewers are listening for entertainment, there's a larger than normal amount of listeners who are interested in learning, and there's some that are even looking for validation on, on something that they have experienced. And there's obviously a big difference in how I'm conducting an interview of a witness. These events are equally traumatizing, if not more so, for some people There is no legal component there, so I have no obligation or desire personally to form an opinion on what people are claiming. I know that I've listened to some interviewers, and they seem like set on grilling witnesses on the smallest of details. And I'm not talking about an off-air interview, right? I'm talking about like on a show, a podcast, right? Because I feel like, yeah, you definitely have a lot more opportunity if you're just chatting with them on the phone, to get into those details. But it just seems like some interviewers are like, ooh, it's like the gotcha, we're going to try to get them to trip up or reveal that they may not be telling the truth or stating the facts. Like, I'm going to get to the bottom of this, correct. And this person isn't stating facts correctly in the manner that I think is going to be believable to my average listener. When I don't know, this is just my opinion. When I listen to someone using that style of investigation, it's kind of clear to me that the interviewer either has not had a cryptid encounter at all, or that their experience has kind of like clouded their judgment to the point that they're not open to any other set of facts. And the only thing that they find believable is the encounter, with similar, if not identical, facts as to what they experienced. Now, again, that's, this is just strictly my opinion. Maybe some viewers and listeners enjoy those type of shows, but I don't have a desire to participate in them. I feel like it's just not fun. You and I, we don't like to be mean to people. We've had that conversation, no matter almost like who it is, sometimes to the detriment. I'd rather just like, if it's a mean person, just like whatever, but I don't want to go about that as my, as my new career or hobby, whatever. It also makes me wonder about the probability of a witness that will continue to cooperate with the person doing the interview. I feel like it will greatly inhibit those who have had actual encounters from wanting to share their encounters. If the interviewer just has like this strong, that personality, that they'll shut down. And I just think that, like, and again, this is my opinion, eventually the only witnesses that they may get to grant these interviews are those who are mainly interested in their 5 minutes of fame. And I don't feel like it leads to a lot of proper gaining of information and data. This is exactly, I'm not going to mention obviously any names, but this is exactly what has happened with a large reporting organization in the Bigfoot genre. And again, not going to mention, but they have become notorious for not believing the witnesses and either changing the facts of an encounter as reported by the individual, or just not including their report in the data. And that's just sad to me. And I feel like it's why they say that 75% of witnesses don't contact anyone about their experiences. And I have to say that I identify with that, because if I did not have people that, in order to share this information with and to talk about it with, there's no way I would contact any organization and report what's going on. I just wouldn't feel comfortable doing it. Now, some could argue that my particular interview style could lead to a higher amount of fraudulent interviewees, but I've said in the past, and I'll say it again, I'd rather take an interview from a hoaxer than not, because I've declared that person's version to be fake, right? That's a huge missed opportunity for me to interview someone who may have been afraid to come forward because of ridicule or just the sheer emotional trauma that they've experienced the day they came into contact, with a massive monster-looking thing, whether it's a Bigfoot or a Dogman or whatever other cryptid is out there. We've interviewed grown men that have talked about, peeing and pooping their pants because they got that scared. That's such a common thing. And first of all, like, that's not something that somebody's just going to want to say, right? Like, who, but it just, to me, lends to this like believability. That is how traumatized and how scared they were, and then they totally go and change. Maybe they don't hunt, they don't fish, they don't go into the woods, whatever the things that they used to enjoy doing, their life is completely changed. And I also personally know how terrible that feels to have people not believe you. Now, I don't care if perfect strangers don't believe me. I really, really don't. But when a good friend or a family member doesn't believe what's my truth, it hurts. And I'm not saying that they have to actually believe all of the facts or believe in the thing, but it's, it's like, this is my experience. And I know it sounds ridiculous. The average person that, I have a large group of individuals who we refer to and who they actually call themselves Sasquatch, but there's no other explanation for the amount of photographic, and audio evidence that I've accumulated. And it just, and just what keeps happening. It is very exciting, I have to say, to me, but it's also very overwhelming at times, and it can be very draining. I have so much activity here that it really has like, it's taken over my life to some extent. And again, it gets overwhelming and draining. Now, in my case, I want to forge and continue my relationship with the clan members of the Sasquatch that live around me. I want that relationship. I want a relationship that's based on mutual trust and respect of each other's boundaries. I do not want to disrespect their their family, their home, and vice versa. But so in the future, I'm going to be sharing more of my investigations and my evidence here on the show, and kind of my research methods, because I don't know, I just I think it's fun, and it's wow, it's you these things are not supposed to exist. We are, we're conditioned to that. No, they don't. This is fairy tales. It's hoaxes. It's whatever. It's misidentification. But I don't know what else to say. Like, for instance, my the program that I use is able to take a voice, someone's voice, and enhance it or amplify whatever, and it will not identify these voices that I'm getting and these vocals. The system, it's, these programs are not identifying them as actual voices, but they don't sound like anything else. So what do you think? Like, what is the reason for that? What other reason could I give for that, Kenny?
That is all some great stuff right there. And sounds like you're staying extremely busy and have your own style to keep rolling with. And now that you do have your freedom to, approach your thread and such how you want to, I definitely think you have some great things that you can conquer. I mean, like I was telling you in the beginning before you started putting a little bit more effort in, I mean, you already have the interaction and stuff. It's like people told me the first 1,000 subs is like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
And once you get that, though, then it will start rolling in more afterwards. And the viewing hours is probably just as hard, if not harder. And honestly, you probably already have your viewing hours once you hit the point of being able to apply. So yeah, you just got to keep on rolling with it. And that's great stuff for sure. And now to answer your question about that not identifying it, pretty interesting stuff, because AI can be a great tool, and also just like anything else can be used improperly. And
Right.
Mr. Steve Stockton and I were talking about this last night.
Yeah.
All right, so here's an example. All right, okay, we used to just use spears and things. Okay, so people had a spear, and then all of a sudden someone comes up with a sword and a shield.
Yeah.
It's your choice at this point in time. Do you want to be stubborn and not move with times and keep your spear? You are okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But do you want to move on with the rest of the time, because no one's ever going to go back to just using a spear now that you have a sword and shield?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing now again. Keep your
Yeah.
sword and shield. This guy's got a semi-automatic weapon. Again, do you want to keep your shield and be stubborn? Go ahead. But what point in time is technology ever pointing that we're going back to swords and shields? I mean, the next thing, you probably have a snap of a finger and phew, someone disappears. You know,
Right,
so
right.
yes, and that's kind of the same thing with AI, meaning people can get offended. I'm an artist. I don't get offended whatsoever. You know how long it would take to hand draw and try to do the things I'm doing without the help of AI? I already have to spend. People don't realize you can go ahead and type your words into AI, and you're going to get a semi-cool looking photo, but I still afterwards need to go in and edit a bunch of things, like the contrast and maybe like some trees in the background I don't like,
Yeah.
and then I change the eye color. There's all kinds of things
Yeah.
that I still have to do. Now, if I need to do this completely from hand scratch, it's going to take forever. I'm not about that. And also,
Right.
I'm an artist. And another great example is like with a rainforest. Okay, you and I and all these other minds could sit down and try to decipher all the sounds in the rainforest and the frequencies and all of this. And at some point in time, we will probably get the majority of it correct. Wait, what do you mean, Star Fox? Majority? Yeah, because human error is something that always occurs, especially with crunching numbers and things. But now
Yeah.
you have AI that can sit there and listen to the whole entire jungle. It analyzes every sound that it hears out there, and now can sit there and tell these people basically what's going on, if the jungle's having issues, or if there is this going on out there, these animals are upset. Beautiful. That's what I
Right.
mean about a beautiful thing. No matter what, something can be used for good or evil. I mean, a gun can be used to get you a food source or defend yourself, or it could be
Yeah.
used for nefarious purposes. It's
Right.
with anything. I mean, okay, a hammer can be used to build your house, or a hammer can be used again for a nefarious purpose. Okay.
Right.
So it really is, like I said, it's a tool. Okay. And again, does someone go ahead, stick with your hands and digging in the dirt to build your house, or here's a hammer. Again, no one says you have to use the hammer, but no one's going to sit here for the rest of their life and dig in the ground now that they have hammers and shovels. You see what I'm saying? So
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
yes, that's what I mean about the AI. And now to give you an answer on that, I would really think that's all going to be based on your quality of the program. Now that you're using numerous ones, this comment I'm going to make probably doesn't come into line. But I mean, I love my iPhone and Siri's pretty dope. But Siri was responding to Jessica Jones last night when her and I were talking on my tablet. And I had not closed down Siri yet from one of the things, and she heard something that sounded like Siri, and then starts just like responding, but I wasn't even using it. I'm talking to Jessica. So that's just an example of how AI still kind of is in the early stages, I guess. I mean, Siri's been around for a minute, but they just recently changed it to like Apple, Intel, whatever. So I'm just trying to say that it really all depends. I would assume Apple is using something more generic for that type of response, whereas the people that are monitoring the jungle probably have some super high tech stuff.
And they're not just relying on the AI.
And same thing with you, where you're using it in multiple apps and such, the odds of all them running off of the same type of AI response is pretty slim. And people are going to be like, well, what do you mean? Well, same thing with the apps I use. You can type in the same thing in certain apps and every picture is different.
Right.
But so that means it's not using the same system to generate something. If it was on the same exact server or same generation concept as the rest of them, I could go into 6 different apps that I use to edit with AI and type the same thing, and it's going to give me 6 of the same identical images, but they're all massively, drastically different. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I just think it's a cool tool. I mean, I could, I can try to get somebody
One
to
thing in your phone, then.
Yeah, but like I can try to get somebody, hey, beg and will somebody please do a spectrogram on this, because that's really the only other way to show the range, that these things do have in their vocal abilities, that really, I don't, it's outside of the range of humans, it's outside of the range of animals. So I just think it's a cool tool, now does it mean it doesn't mean absolutely that it doesn't mean that, oh no, that's for sure a Bigfoot. That's not what, no, I can't say that, because then I can't rule out that it's just another animal, but I feel like it takes that component out for me to like, because some of the things, the only time that I even use that is when I feel like it does sound human. There is one Sasquatch that sounds so human. And I think I told you, like, I refer to him as Kurt, because he sounds he has this howl that sounds like Kurt Cobain in some of his songs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, And so I think, is this some poor soul out at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's pouring rain that's just screaming his head off? Or is it more likely, a Sasquatch? And I just think it's cool that I can just, okay, let my program, right, listen to this, and if it says, oh, no vocals can be found, what's creepy though is when it comes up with captions of what's supposedly being said. Then I'm like, oh wait, is this something like paranormal though? That's weird. That's getting into like a whole other set of circumstances, right?
And it's great stuff right there, because like you had said, it's pretty hard sometimes when something doesn't fall into line as to where it properly should. And that's what I mean about starting with like the basics as to what it could be before then immediately jumping to things. I mean, you're going to laugh, but that's a big reason why on the North American Dogman Project website, and also in our field manual, we have a section about when you send in evidence. It's sad we had to list this. No bodily fluids, meaning no poop and pee and stuff, because Jody's had so much poop that is dog poop, bear poop sent to him and stuff. And it's like, look, no, let's use some sort of actual common sense now. I mean, let's actually do a little bit of research before we immediately assume something has to be paranormal or cryptid based, because I feel like it's a big issue in the cryptid field. Is you have people that like the science, believe in the science, and then you have the other people that just, I don't know, apparently just kick science aside and just believe in the most bizarre, out of this world stuff. And again, I always say I'm willing to always sway, no pun intended, right? Sway men, sway. Brilliant right there. Sorry, nerd.
Dad joke,
but I'm always willing to sway my opinion about something if the same beautiful minds that have sat down with me in the first place, and not even them, other beautiful minds, and just help me understand why my view on it should be different. Okay. And for example, with all the things that are, like I said, completely in my eyes at the moment bizarre, doesn't mean I wouldn't change my mind frame. But the reason I find them bizarre is because from all the logics that I look through and all the evidence that I try to look for, it's not there. And that's what I mean about not buying it. Do I know that, like I had spoken to you, people are seeing something that resembles a canine, a hyena, a bear? Yes, I do know that. And do they exist here at one point in time? Yes, they did. Do they still exist? Yes, I believe they do. Do I know people are missing? Yes, I do. Do I know there's issues near cave systems and in the national forest? Yes, I do. And that's what I mean about, there's the logical part, because there's science and everything to back up every single one of those. And there is science that we have footprints that look to be like hyena, which, okay, what are hyenas doing in North America? Right. Interesting. And we also have footprints that look like baboons, and people don't realize hyena footprints can look very similar to bears and such. And people think freaking domesticated dogs are dogman footprints. So it's not very far-fetched to have people not be able to distinguish the difference between those either. Yes, we have those on file. That's science right there. We have some strange vocalizations that at the moment do sound out of the realm of what should be in the area, and also what are known canines and such, and primates in areas. So yes, is that something that you can nail to the wall? No, because we're still trying to analyze more of it. But that's what I mean about all the science parts. Now, again, sure. So if someone's like, Starfox, do you believe in the Dogman? Well, everything I just explained to you falls into the terminology of Dogman. So yes. Now, do I believe in werewolves and all of that such? Still, I don't know. I find it interesting, and there is a lot of history that you can read into it. But when it comes to like the science of any of that, it's minimal at best. And that's not really good when I say minimal. I mean, it's something like you and I spoke about, how okay, let's talk science, and then let's mix it up with like what they did, and then now not have science. So the Beast of Jebediah, yes,
Yeah.
existed.
Mhm.
People were unalived, and well, it was either a striped hyena, which the hunter said no, it wasn't, and he pointed at a spotted hyena. Okay,
Mhm.
so it's a spotted hyena, which is the guy didn't say it looked like a wolf or anything else. He literally pointed at a spotted hyena. Okay,
Mhm.
and at this point in time, you had people that did own animals they shouldn't have. I mean, it's the way royalty likes to be. So someone could
Yeah.
either purposely let this thing out,
Mhm.
and no different than anything else that's potentially somewhat domesticated. I mean, you can raise a dog that likes you and you could train it not to like other people. So
Mhm.
same thing. Someone could have purposely let this thing out to go
Or got
ham.
out. They,
Yeah. Or it
there's
got
such
out.
escape artists, like, even dogs can, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah.
So that
Yeah.
could have happened too. Or
Mhm.
also, again, someone, with royalty was like, oh, this party's over. We don't need all these
Yeah.
animals
Yeah,
around, and let them
I
out.
can't deal with this thing. It's too much trouble. Just
Yeah.
let it out.
So
Mhm.
that could have happened too. But either way, we do know it was a hyena. And the guy that unalived it was just happening to have some silver bullets. It had nothing to do with anything paranormal based or
Yeah.
anything he believed in, anything like that. He just happened to be using silver bullets and shot it. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, again, any sort of beast that a spotted hyena or anything can be unalived by, doesn't matter, an iron bullet, a sword, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. So if you
Right.
look at prior to that, there's always been a mystique about silver and the
Mhm.
paranormal not enjoying silver and salt and things.
Yeah.
So it's always been there. But
Mhm.
specifically it came to the werewolf
Yeah.
after that, and has
Uh-huh.
nothing to do with that. And same thing with the full moons. If you look at all the historical reports and things like that, it's really just at night. I mean, I think it's honestly something that just occurs at night with people in general. Animals
Mhm.
are more apt to howl at the full moons. Ocean tides change. There's
Right.
more crime that
Absolutely.
occurs
Mhm.
in the
Mhm.
city. So
Yep.
again, if something was occurring like that and this person did change into a beast, well, wouldn't he or she be acting crazier with a full moon too? I mean, I
Mhm.
can't
Yeah.
sleep with it, right? So
Yeah,
it's
me neither. Oh my gosh, I hate it. Yeah. Yep.
yeah, it's really interesting then to look at it like that. But like I said, though, I just need some sort of science besides it. Like I know, okay, Heinrich Himmler and the Dirty Stash had 13,000 occult books that
Yeah.
dove into this type of stuff, like
Uh-huh.
shapeshifting and werewolves. That's
Mhm.
fact. It's there. The Czech
Mhm.
Republic found it. Those are occult books. Some of
Yeah.
them and most of them are banned, whether it's from within countries, religious groups, or
Mhm.
just in general. And the majority of them, the others, are considered cursed. Okay.
Mhm.
So again, I'm not reading any of those. I don't know anyone that's read any of those, but I do know that Heinrich Himmler and the Dirty Stash had 13,000 of those. Okay,
Yeah.
they had 13,000 books based on this, and I do know Castle Hauschka, an area that again has some strange, dark kind of history with stuff like that.
Mhm.
They were there. Can we fully verify their word that they supposedly arose some stuff from beneath the
Mhm.
castle?
Uh-huh.
No. But can we verify with science that they were there? Yes. Okay. So again, why were they in possession of 13,000
Right.
cursed and occult books? And
Mhm.
why in every area that supposedly has some sort of strange darkness about it, were they
Mhm.
there? It's
Right.
pretty interesting because, again, I can't, and as far as I know, no one else has enough to show anything, potentially supernatural or paranormal based. But everything I just showed you is scientific proven.
Mhm.
So I mean, we know that all occurred. I mean, we know they were hiding their gold up in the Swedish Alps and places like that. There's some more
Mhm.
science for you. So we know all of that. But again, can I prove in a court of
Right.
law that
Yeah.
I believe Heinrich Himmler and the Dirty Stash were successful at paranormal creations and were able to successfully make SS werewolves and such? I
Mhm.
can't. I mean, I would
Yeah.
love to say I can. I've heard a ton of things, and I've been able to speak to people, but I have yet to really be able to see a ton of those own documents myself. I mean, how the heck am I supposed to get a hold of World War II, Heinrich Himmler, and the dirty
Right.
stashes
Yeah.
documents, if they even exist anymore? Isn't somebody else going to be in possession of them that would either want them or had the money to purchase them? I mean, how the heck am I ever going to verify any of that outside of what I've heard from people's relatives that had passed away, etc., or just diving into research? So again, there's a paranormal part of the Nazi werewolves and stuff, but the science part is we can verify that there were strange bodies found outside of Kassel Hauska that were in SS uniforms and such and didn't look like normal corpses. There's science for you. But again, no way to really verify. Did they do that with some special book? Did they do that with some sort of summoning? I don't know. I can't prove any of that. So am I opposed to ever believing that fully? Of course not. But as a scientific and logical mind, I just would like to see something. So someone tells me this unknown animal that looks like this and this, and okay, I have footprints that, look like hyenas, baboons, and some we can't verify. Well, that's science for me right there. Okay. Someone wants to say this strange animal exists and such. Well, here are vocalizations we can't fully verify. That's what I just mean about science. Someone's like, hey, so-and-so's missing. Yes, so-and-so is missing. Where'd they go missing? Oh, in this national park near this cave system. There's science. Did a strange beast or something paranormal take them? I don't know. Like, that's interesting, but where is enough science on that side to show me that it was something paranormal and not a hyena or not a bear or not a Neanderthal human or a feral person or something like that, or Sasquatch, because I've seen enough to be okay with putting my stamp of approval on that. So do I consider that a cryptid? No, I don't, because I consider that something existing. And people are going to be like, wait, what do you mean? Just like what I said, there's enough science, footprints, DNA samples, past ancestors, primates, all of that to fall into one. Yes, it exists. Now, Dogman and still of all of that is still considered a cryptid. So if someone wants me to then push apart in a way all the things I just spoke to you about, and then believe it was a raging werewolf or a Mothman or a Jersey Devil or the Forest People or Thunderbird or any of that, I'm not opposed to ever buying into that, but can someone show me something? That's all.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. I also think there's something to be said for the people that claim that you can conjure something up, because why would they have all of those books? Who is who's writing these books and printing the books, and distributing the books if there's not something that you're able to do with them? And I would want it. I don't want anything to do with that. Absolutely not. But because I feel like there is some sort of power that that you can do nefarious things if you just have to know the right, combinations. So it really it makes complete sense to me what you're saying. And it is, it's I've always found Bigfoot, Sasquatch as just a much more believable thing. But hey, there's been plenty of people now that I know that they claim that they saw an upright canine, with, dog head, but the body of a man, whatever, and it's like, and these are people that are, they're professional people. They they have a lot to lose for even, so it's really interesting, isn't it? But yeah, you're right. We do have to definitely use any scientific data that we have and methods that we have when we are researching, because other than that, you're taking yourself down a rabbit hole or the wrong road if you don't eliminate the most obvious. And I don't know what drives people to do that, but I also feel like, but there is a point where, like, I am not out to prove their existence to anybody at this point. Like, I know that they exist. I don't even need to prove existence to myself. Obviously, but I think it's interesting when I do get some evidence. And again, I don't put that out there for people. I don't put that out there for people to say, to believe Barb Hartman. I also don't put that out there to get or be on podcast or this podcast to get like fame and notoriety. There's so many of us, and that's not what's happening. People will say all the time, like, oh, why don't you, if you get that money shot, if somebody could just get a great clear shot of Bigfoot. Well, I think that the Patterson Gimlin film is accurate, and that no one has been able to debunk that as a hoax. Those guys, especially Bob Gimlin, his life was made absolute hell after that. Like, yes, it's completely changed to the point where the poor guy, he was just at a convention recently, and he had to have like a bodyguard come with him because some people are so terribly hateful. And this is like this sweet, like, I think he's like 85, I don't know, 83-year-old man, like, and he's the sweetest thing. But that is how, for some reason, it just brings out some anger and hate and whatnot in people that, I mean, we could say that for anything these days, right? But why? Like, gosh, people, we're talking about cryptids here. Calm the F down,
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly, unfortunately, with just how, in general,
Well,
people.
it's like we were, this is the world today, and we can just try not to be like that. That's all we can do. That's all we can do.
Yes, 100%. And as we start to tie this up, it's like Steve and I were talking about the other night, just about how, yeah, you can only do like so much with what's presented. So you can definitely make sure to do the proper research, but it's hard now because back in the day and such, like in the historical times, hoaxing wasn't really necessarily a thing, but now it's pretty prevalent, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that's why it's harder to, buy
Yeah.
into like quality evidence at the moment and such.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that's always evolving. And you're gonna chuckle, I feel like, but again, I don't really dive too much into Sasquatch, but I definitely found it as a child super interesting. But yeah, the Patterson and Gimlin footage is super cool too. But you know what my favorite, and if I had to pick one to show somebody would actually, in my opinion, be the Freeman footage. I feel like that is funny right there.
Yeah, that's fantastic too. That's probably my second. Second favorite. I also the Independence Day footage. I don't know. Do you remember? Do you know which one I'm talking about? Where it's like an adult has a baby, and it appears that it's walking through, and it picks up had set the child down, and then it picks it up, and then and just kind of runs by and is very nervous looking at the camera. And a lot of people think, because it's so clear, that it is a hoax. But as in terms of like measurements, it's outside of the proportions of of a regular human body. Because that's kind of a neat thing, is that you can look at anything, and you can say, okay, well, it's arms to body leg ratio, and if you determine that, and it's most likely a human if it's within the range that the humans are, that the human anatomy. But when you have something that's outside of that, you either are talking about somebody that maybe has some sort of like deformity, congenital deformity, or it's probably an ape, or it's a Sasquatch. It's not a full blown human being. So that's interesting too. And that is, and I thought I was involved in like a little bit of a I guess you'd say, a little bit of a project where we were trying to debunk it, and then there were people coming in that were saying, man, the evidence that it is an actual real thing, that just blew my mind, because that thing is so cool and so human looking. It's something else. So do you know which one I'm talking? If not, I'll have to send it to you. I think it was in Colorado, but I'm not positive. But they call it the Independence Day footage. So check it out if you haven't. And if you don't, like I said, I can send it to you.
Big stuff right there, and super gnarly. And I'm not sure if I've seen it, but definitely pass it on my way for sure. And
absolutely.
Thank you again for coming to hang out with us tonight. Is there anything else you would like to touch base on or spread some awareness on before we allow you to get back to hanging out and recharging?
No, I think that's everything. I think I said everything that I wanted to say. To tell you about. We're over time. I would like to talk about those cases that we don't have to do it tonight. We can do it next time.
Keep those on
shared
file
with
for sure.
me. Whoa, they're interesting.
I have a couple other ones too I can toss you for sure. So definitely. And
because I can share with you like have I had any sort of reports of that? Yes, yes or no or whatever, what my thought process is. But good stuff. Interesting
great
stuff.
Well, thank you again for hanging out with us tonight. I do appreciate you, and to everyone that is interested in what Barb is doing, her links will be up, both her Facebook group and her YouTube, in the description of the video. And she is a bi-weekly host, so if you do want to listen to certain hosts, etc., I do a playlist up. But you will hear from both Barb and I very soon. But thank you again.
Yes, we have exciting stuff coming up, don't we? Exciting plans. I'm excited.
You legends, I do adore every single one of you. If you did make it this far tonight, please like, comment, share, and feed the algorithm. I will see you very soon.